Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey for several years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and darkwave, say that 3 times, electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, a big shout out to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror and Halloween genre and does amazing commission pieces of any type. Tonight, we welcome very special guest, first time for us, wealth of information, metaphysical author and blogger, Mark Russell Bell, who touches on many metaphysical topics. And in this segment, we're going to be discussing a few of his articles. And one specifically is A Metaphysical Approach, which presents precise evidence, documentation of interstellar and interdimensional UFO /UAP space people interaction. So what is the real story? Well, we're going to explore from nonfiction to channeling and more. So prepare yourselves, and we're going to have a really great laid-back conversation. Thank you to everybody in chat. I see that remember, we're on 8 different locations simultaneously. Roku, X, everything's going. YouTube, everything's going. And Rumble seems to be a bit problematic at the moment, but it should kick in anytime. Anyhow, hello to everybody. As we move along, I will periodically, as always, put up comments here and there just to let you know we are seeing them. Any questions for our guest, I will make sure I flag them. And once he's ready to go for answering, we most certainly will get to. So hello, everyone. And hello, Mark Russell Bell. How are you?
Very good. Hi, Michelle and Amelia.
Hi, how are you?
So nice to have you joining us tonight. I have to say, I've been perusing your site, your website, and it's just amazing. You're well-versed and well-researched, and topics are just endless.
Yes. Before I became a metaphysical author, I was a publicity writer for Paramount Pictures.
Wow.
And I worked on over 100 movies, press kits, news releases, speeches. So that's what preceded my career as a voluntary, non-commercial blogger.
Wow. So why metaphysical? Is this something that just intrigued you? Is it just something
when I was a child, I had several unexplained experiences. Like once I was living in Pasadena and I heard a voice calling my name. And my twin brother was asleep. My mom was asleep, and my dad was divorced, so he wasn't there. So I thought, oh, maybe it's a friend from school playing a trick on me, even though that was impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it stayed in my mind. And then there was one time I saw what I thought was an apparition. It was real hot. We lived in the upstairs apartment, and I was sleeping on the sofa at night with the door open because it was so hot. And I thought I saw something in the room with me. So I stared, and it looked just like a cloaked skull face. And then it started laughing, and it disappeared in the darkness.
Wow.
And I thought, is my mind playing tricks on me? I mean, it was at my imagination.
Yeah.
So, but then I was reminded of that when I was at a local used paperback bookstore where they sold comic books and paperbacks. And there was a book called The Edge of the Unknown by Arthur Conan Doyle. And it had a skull in a crystal ball. And it reminded me of my experience. So I ended up buying the book. And there was another experience that he wrote about that I also had experienced, which was waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to move my body, which is what he described too.
Right.
And I went on to read about UFO books, anything about, I was trying to figure out what life was about. And slowly and surely, my interest rewarded me, so to speak. While I was at Paramount, there were movies with paranormal subjects, like the movie Ghost was one of them. The Butcher's Wife was about psychic phenomena. Star Trek movies, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And there were normal movies too, like The Godfather Part 3, Fatal Attraction, The Untouchables were some of the movies I worked on. And 7 Eddie Murphy movies. 100 in all. The Wayne's World movies, the Naked Gun movies. It was a wide cross-section, some really grisly horror movies too.
Yeah.
To this day, I warn people about horror movies because everything you put into your mind is there forever. Memory can get back to you at any moment. So why people go to these horrible, horrible movies? And I publicized them at one point in my life, like Tales from the Dark Side, Body Parts.
Yeah.
Now I wonder, and there were 2 Friday the 13th movies too.
Right.
Oh my.
And now I wonder, what on earth? It's like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you help seed. You help seed young minds. I was one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say there's more than 2
them.
Friday the 13th because I think I've seen one.
No.
And
slasher films are not my thing, though. Most people in paranormal don't go for the slasher, though.
Well, I had majored in cinema at USC.
Yes. No, I understand that. That's pretty exciting.
And I had thoroughly studied the movies. And some of the subtle things, like in television, you have anagrams for evil and sin in the word television. And cinema sounds just like S-I-N, cinema. I mean, there's like subtle little things telling you. And sure enough, look at society today. Everyone's constantly entertaining themselves instead of expanding their consciousness about metaphysical aspects of life, such as the subjects that you may read about at my blog.
Yeah.
So I keep telling them, you don't want to get to the other side not knowing anything. Maybe that's the reason people have to reincarnate again and again and again, because they're so trapped in social consciousness. They can't figure out what's going on in life. And they don't know what's moral and what's immoral. They think making money is good. They don't stop to think about.
Well, do you think, I mean, I think they purposely keep us, too busy to really connect with consciousness. I think that
Exactly.
there's
They want
many
you to be a
reasons.
consumer for their corporate products. They
Yes.
don't want you thinking about spirituality, because spirituality doesn't cost anything.
No.
The articles on my blog don't cost anything to read.
Mhm.
Nobody makes any money. And it's
No.
all about making money in America today, unfortunately.
But
Mm.
I would say that's internationally. I mean, we see
Yes.
corruption when we're giving aid and it's not getting to the people,
That's right.
you know.
Mm.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I believe that's
Mhm.
why they call it the root of all evil.
Exactly. And the golden rule
Oh,
is in every
Mhm.
major
Yeah.
world spiritual tradition.
Yeah, it's very hard to take the time to tap into consciousness or tap into your higher self, tapping in just in general, just to find that quiet time
Mhm.
in any day to explore, what's out there. Um, that is what life has come to. And I mean, then factor in conditioning, all the conditioning that we've had for how many millennia. It makes it really, really difficult. And I think we tend to lose sight of the fact that we are not the only ones here within the planet, within this dimension, and that there is so much more beyond the dimension, so much more beyond the universe. If you're getting into John Keel's theory of, multiverses and so on, like there is just so much. But when do you have time to explore that?
Right. And all the information is in my blog articles. I mean, the omniverse is mentioned.
Yes.
The channeler named Ryuhu Okawa
Mhm.
channeled about the flip side universe.
Yes.
Just all kinds of things that
Yes.
people can learn about.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
some of these people are never mentioned in the mainstream media unless it's in a very derogatory way.
Mhm.
And that's the reason for my ufology articles, is
Yeah.
because disclosure is already available for
Mhm.
anyone who looks beyond the mainstream media.
Mhm. No, I agree. There's a lot of
Summarized
people.
in that article.
Yeah, well, even in the article, these people that just didn't get any recognition.
Mhm.
So talk to us about taking the channeling approach with your disclosure article, which is basically
Okay.
disclosure evidence, which is
Okay. Well, let me just give a little background first.
yes,
This is my book.
yeah,
I don't know if you can read it if it's in reverse.
yeah. There it is. No, we can
No,
see it.
it's
Yeah, there
fine.
it goes.
Perfect.
Testament.
Leave it right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was perfect. Yes.
I mean, it's a very long book. It's 1,072 pages.
Wow.
What happened to me while I was working at Paramount, I was working on a nonfiction book, a history book of talking poltergeist cases throughout the ages.
Mm.
And just as I finished my manuscript, lo and behold, at the local bookstore, there was a magazine called Fortean Times
Yes.
that said,
Yes.
America's Talking Poltergeist. So I called the family and I arranged to interview them in Oklahoma. And that's what begins the book. There's pictures of the family. They were my collaborators, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I witnessed many different phenomena there.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happened when I came back, I was living in Echo Park at the time. I was in a condo across from Echo Park Lake and the Angelus Temple. And the phenomena was continuing after I came home. So it was sort of traumatic. The main manifesting entity in Central Homa was named Michael. And so with everything that was going on, I had coins materializing. I had the TV would go on, give me a message, and then go off.
Wow.
Such as there was a commercial, a perfume commercial that said, "Love is the only religion." So I was like, I was getting commandments. I mean, it was, and
Without
I was
the
thinking,
tablets.
and I was thinking, oh, well, I wrote the Paramount, which has the logo of the mountain at the beginning of each movie. So I was like trying to connect the dots. And I was thinking, well, what is the reason? Okay, and then I had the previous year I had 2 burning bush experiences right outside my condo.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was thinking, what is the reason this could happen to me? And I said, I just instinctually knew it must be a previous incarnation.
Mm.
So I went up, I was thinking, I mean, everything that you can imagine. I was thinking, what if this means I'm the reincarnation of Jesus? I mean, crazy things.
Right.
So I ended up, researching everything. And what happened is I had read the books of Zecharia Sitchin. And there was an ancient god king priest named Bel Marduk.
Hmm.
And when I was shopping at the local antique store, I found a little coin, a little Egyptian coin, and it looked just like me with one of those big hats.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, this must be some kind of symbolic Bel Marduk.
Yeah.
And so I basically said, well, with this phenomena, and then I also noticed like synchronicities in traffic when I was driving. It was like wrapped up.
Yeah.
100 times more than usual. I mean, it was bizarre.
Yeah.
So I began, what happened is, okay, this will be sort of a shock, but I was calling up my friends and telling them who they were the reincarnation of, at least symbolically.
Mm-hmm.
And I was all excited. Reincarnation. Oh, isn't this nice? And I called even people, my friends at Paramount. I was like, oh, well, you're the reincarnation of.
I think that's cool.
I told one executive, one past executive, oh, you're the reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. And
yeah,
because it was they had metaphorical commonalities. But then, after making some of these calls, I literally felt like an entity left my body.
Oh.
And I was thinking, what was I just talking? What was I telling those people?
Yeah, because you don't always remember.
So, I mean, now I've researched, in fact, I'm doing a series now on possession cases, and there is divine possession as well
like a step-in?
Good and bad. So, so the Michael entity in Centrahoma, I decided had to be the Archangel Michael had to be linked because there were different manifests. There was aliens manifesting in the house. There was local people who had made the transition. And so I thought, well, this is a oneness. It has to be a oneness because look, when I came home, I mean, and then for example, when I was in Central, I called my twin brother and I was telling him what was happening, what phenomena I'd seen. And he said, oh, my bed just started shaking as I was talking to him.
Wow.
So anyway, it was like, this is a reason, so I call it my paranormal initiation. And I've written articles about that. But when I published my book, and being a publicist, I knew what publicity wires to use. I wrote my own news releases. Everyone would not touch it. Would not touch it.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no love interest in it.
Social consciousness. It was against the social consciousness. So now I did go on paranormal radio shows.
Yes.
I went on paranormal radio shows and the morning zoo shows.
Right.
Like Man Cav's Morning Madhouse was one of them.
Right.
It was, I don't know, it was bizarre.
There's a huge interest. I think people are fascinated by the unknown. You know, it's one of those things that you grow
Well,
up a certain time in your life and you're not allowed to talk about it. You know, if your family's like, don't talk about it, they'll
mhm,
think you're crazy. And people were really genuinely leery about sharing their stories. So when you come out with, hey, look at all these
mhm.
stories, you know, like that's a big deal. I think when people started writing about
Well,
their
just to give you
experiences.
an example, 'cause when I was thinking back about experiences of my life, I said, okay, well, my twin brother is named Michael.
Yeah.
My first entertainment job in Hollywood was working as Mickey Rooney's assistant. And Mickey, of course, is a
Mm,
variation of Michael. And there were also lots of other Michaels in my life. But, and then when I went to Paramount, there were like 8 or 9 Michaels all on the staff in the
mhm,
marketing. And
mhm,
the attorney who signed my contract also was named Michael.
mm,
So there was, and then I started, when I researched paranormal cases, there was Archangel Michael parallels between all the famous cases.
the
And
synchronicities again.
yeah, and Bell phenomena too. In fact, Michelle, your name is a variation.
Yeah.
Um, and I've written articles about the Michael pattern.
Mm,
And but in my case, my first 39 years were pretty, I assume, were pretty much like everyone else's.
mhm,
I didn't know very much. I didn't know what was true. I read books, but I wasn't sure if people were being honest. I mean, it was really hard to know what was
mhm.
what.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a matter of what I refer to as guides in oneness
Mm,
interact with you
yes.
constantly, then you know, and you can apply the knowledge to ufology, um, to any other metaphysical subject.
Mhm,
So channeling. So what happened is after that experience where I called my brother and I said, "Oh my God, does this mean I possess?" You know, I was really upset,
yeah.
even though nothing really bad had happened.
Yeah.
Well, he was very concerned,
Oh, I bet.
and he called two of my friends, and they said, "Mark," because I was staying up late at night working at my book, because I wanted to get it, published as soon as possible.
Mhm.
So they tried to get me to go away to rest.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Anyway, that turned out to be another bizarre
Mhm,
experience,
mhm.
to say the least.
Right.
Um, it was at a hospital that I thought it was going to be like
Mm.
a nice place by the beach,
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
was, it was like a
Mhm.
psychiatric hospital,
Right.
and it was like the emergency care ward because they were so concerned.
Yes.
And I wrote an article about this too. Phenomena started. It was shocking. There was channeling. There was actually a professional channeler who was there
Mhm.
getting help. I
Wow.
mean,
Wow.
Yeah.
and they were, and like there was people who were very ill. Like one woman who would go in and out of consciousness would start channeling aliens, and they talk
Mm,
about their crops on this other planet.
mm,
And meanwhile, the hospital staff is got everything, was watching everything probably on video.
mhm.
And then one night, the young guy in the bed right next to mine started demonically howling.
Ooh.
And I
Wow.
was scared. I said, "Oh my God, they're going to think it's me."
Oh, no.
So, so I said, wake up, you're snoring.
Yeah.
Because the other guy, there was a third guy in the room, and I was suspicious that he was, I don't know, he just didn't seem. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
I have an article about that too.
Right.
But what happened is when my friends called the place, they said, well, we'll take him to our facility. We have to do it by ambulance. So I said, well, I'm not going to go by ambulance, and I'm not going to pay for that. He said, don't worry, it's all taken care of with your insurance. So when I was signing the papers to go into the facility, it said, will you be responsible for all the expenses here? And I said, I didn't sign it. I didn't check the box. And I didn't sign the page because I wasn't going to be. I mean, you know, I had Blue Cross. But no, I'm not going to sign my life away to these people I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So you can guess what happened. Fine. I mean, just after a few days, I mean, I could tell they were. At first, there was some things like, oh, we wouldn't have put you on a 3-day hold and blah, 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 or a 5-day hold. I don't even remember.
Right.
Yeah, 3 is usually the legal.
Oh,
in both countries, yours and ours.
Yeah. And also there was one young girl who I made friends with started talking about wanting to eat me. So I was very upset, to say the least. You know, I mean, and they, you know, so after, I don't know, it was 4 or 5 days, they finally agreed to release me as long as I went to see a psychiatrist for counseling. So I said, fine, I'll see. So I went home, everything was fine, except when I got home, the first song that came on was, Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John. And I got all emotional. And then my brother's pet cat, Dickens, went like yawn, but it didn't look like a normal yawn. It looked like it was yanked to mimic a yawn.
Yeah.
I said, oh, they're still here.
Yeah. It's kind of representation of a new beginning too. Birth, right? Yeah.
So let's just say, you know, and it has not stopped. It's never stopped. It's gone through different phases, and my friends my close friends were all too freaked to deal with it.
Wow.
I ended up having a career with the school district for 17 years, and which I enjoyed because I don't, you know, I've never been in a personal, intimate relationship with another human being. I enjoyed the kids. I worked in special ed predominantly for 12 of those years at a very distinguished high school. And, you know, I just love the special ed kids. In fact, the way I look at it is most people on earth are special and don't know it. Some of them were scary. There was a little girl who would try to dart out people's eyes with a pencil.
Oh.
You know, I mean.
Yeah. That's harsh.
But, you know, I loved I liked just about everyone who worked at my high school. And, but it wasn't a normal life. It was not. My mom got sick and I was her caregiver too, so that was good. But I don't know.
So, I mean, as a child, you know, did you have paranormal experiences, or is this something that you were aware of, or
they were just very few, far between?
Right.
Like I remember once when I was a child, I passed out. Okay, they gave me some kind of vaccine. In like around first grade or around then, maybe it was kindergarten even, and I passed out. And my first thought was, the aliens have come back. And I thought, where did that thought come from?
Yeah, that's a young age.
The only thing I could think of was there was an old Superman TV series where they did have these grotesque, like aliens as characters. Right. And I mean, consciously, I couldn't remember. I couldn't understand the reason I even had that thought. Maybe just the wooziness I felt, but I was very surprised by having that thought. So I can understand how other people have experiences.
Yeah. So it picked up later in life. And have any of your close friends been visiting and witnessing? Have they been made witness to anything that you're experiencing?
Synchronicity wise, so most of my close friends have all moved away. They're either in retirement communities or they moved overseas.
Mm.
My twin brother lives over in the Las Vegas area, the Rancho Mirage area. And I myself had a strange illness come on in 2017. So I've had to deal with that.
Right.
But or I'd be visiting him more. But
Mm-hmm.
and what happened is with my school friends is when I got sick, I ended up having to retire. And that was right at the outbreak of coronavirus.
Right.
So I sort of lost touch with my friends from school.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's a lot of older people in the same position as me.
Oh, for sure.
You know, who would like to have more friends.
Yes.
Yet, where are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I think your friends may be otherworldly. So,
well, exactly. That's
yeah.
that's the case.
Yeah.
But one of my experiences is in 2022, I had everything changed. All of my interactions, they'd always been very positive.
Mm-hmm.
They suddenly turned negative. It was April 29th, 2022. I guess leap year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've written articles about it. I tried to do a news release about it, and no press release company would distribute it because it was not, you know, it was against normal social consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
But,
No formula.
But I'll summarize what happened basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was a message that I got.
Okay.
And this is what I mentioned in my articles. Basically, a transition was completed to a new phase of Earth life. Now, continuing each day is the devil phase of Earth life due to a polarity reversal. That means all the combined thought forms coming from humans led to a God alter ego or altered ego to become the devil. How commercial is that?
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah.
one wants to hear that.
No, it's too, I mean, too deep. I mean, let's face it, everything has a formula. And when you step out of the box and you don't fit the narrative of the formula, you can have the best stuff. But
Well, and in my case, what happened too is that I had set out to do a new journal of my daily experiences for people, a journal blog, not knowing that this was going to happen. So I did that for a couple, 2 or 3 years, but then I just was too negative, so I stopped doing that. But what's so frustrating with the ufology is that there's all this great evidence that people just ignore because, like in the famous contactee cases, all the space people were anti-war. And we have a military bureaucracy who's in charge of releasing the information. Well, they're not going to release information and that anti-war because that's what they've signed on to bolster.
That's right.
So
That's right.
these are my new articles basically summarize the evidence that's either ignored or suppressed commonly.
Yeah.
Because of the military, because we, mankind, has allowed military bureaucracies to take control of our paperwork principalities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I think looking at, again, different parts of the world are very, they're a little, they're a little more, I won't say very, they're a little more open about certain things because there are other countries that talk about even their military or their air force who have had experiences. And you can find this stuff, it's everywhere. And it's been
Mhm.
like articles that were dated a heck of a long time ago. It just seems on this side of the world, everybody's hesitating. And it's like you say,
But
there's a lot of stuff out there.
yeah, well, as I do approach that subject in my new
Yeah.
ufology articles too. And I've also, by the way, at X, thank you for your posts, but I have sent posts to many UFO experts to let them
Mhm.
know about my articles.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is.
Mhm.
Sometimes they
Okay.
don't catch them. I feel like you have to keep trying
Well, I
because
know.
it's all on their algorithm. Because I find the weirdest times when I connect with someone on X, it's just a weird algorithm.
But sometimes they'll give a little heart or something.
Yeah.
But
Don't give up.
I mean, let's just say that I think many of them know it with
Yeah.
have read my articles and know it. But it's the social consciousness. How do
Mhm.
I go against social consciousness? Because it's a mystification.
Yeah.
Social consciousness. We have to wait till the government releases the information when the government's never going to release
No.
this information.
No.
Not the military government.
No,
No.
that has to be done in an official manner, I think.
I sent a letter to the president, and you can read it in one of my articles.
Mhm.
So,
We
you know,
probably have a better chance with Robert Kennedy.
well, I sent one to Vance too. I didn't send one to Robert Kennedy
I would send it
because,
to him because I think he's more salt of the earth when it comes to
yeah,
wanting
but
to know what
he
people are
doesn't really
thinking.
have much. He only has. I mean, I think he's doing a really good job
Yeah.
when you in comparison to past
Mm.
regimes.
Yes.
If we can get rid of all these
Mm.
poisonous additives and
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
he's made a good start. Let's just say.
But he's a step closer to who you want to get to. So it's worth
Well,
going through him to get
I
to.
sent a letter to Vance too,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
I know for a fact that some of these letters get through because what happened with my high school is I worked for 8 years at one high school, and then they started shifting us around based on seniority to other schools. So I ended up working at a occupational center for adult students. And one of my friend teachers there has sent an email to President Obama. And because of that, he selected her out to receive a national award in Washington. So I know some of the letters get through. I don't know if mine got through.
Mm. Yeah.
You know,
I think it's one of those topics that if they're not prepared or ready to address it. Remember, there's an agenda for everything.
mhm,
So it has to come in
right?
line with that agenda because there are powers that be that are much higher than the ones we think are at
Exactly.
the top,
Oh,
who sort of decide, that help make those decisions as to, okay, now would be the time, now wouldn't be the time, then you have your distractions and you have your what's
mhm,
really going on. So you have to somehow get in between the different narratives
Tiny.
to squeeze through. And
right.
you have stuff that makes a lot of sense. And you also, I'll back up. You're dealing with people who sometimes are very open-minded, other times like they can think disclosure. But if you start saying, look, like there's this and channeling and, ITC, we know this is a thing. They may believe it. I think you might stand a better chance with Elon Musk, because he is like
Well,
really wide
He's
open into a
he
lot of
is.
things.
I thought of
He's
that
hard to
too.
connect with.
I
But
Yeah.
even I even did it. I even was smarter than that. I sent an email to his mom,
No,
May,
that'll do it. Yeah.
hoping that she'll
oh.
inform him.
Yeah.
Because he said
Yeah.
as soon as he has any evidence, he'll share it.
Yeah.
But you have to remember like with the president and all these people, they only get certain information from like the Joint Chiefs or whoever it is they're dealing with. And that's what they base their worldview on. I don't know how, and like in my letter to Mr. Trump, I did mention our mutual friend, Mickey Rooney, because he was very close with Mickey. But, you just don't know. You don't know.
All you can do is take a chance. It never hurts to try. You're
I
going
think
to
he's
I've been so frustrated.
Somebody's going to watch.
I finally started telling people, warning them. I said, you don't want to wait till you get to the other side to find out you've been kissing the wrong ass all this time in your military bureaucracy. Now, do you? Because every other approach is, it's like deer in the headlights. They're scared to go against this mystification social consciousness. So, I don't know. If you read my old posts at X, you'll find some of those.
Yeah. There is a lot of information, and there's a lot of ground that you cover. And I think you just have to have people who are, not aside from open-minded, who are willing to go against.
Well, I'll go down the list. Okay, in my UFO, that article that I mentioned to you.
Okay.
Where is it? Oh yeah. Okay. So we have the letters from aboard a flying saucer, which was physical evidence. It's photographed in Truman Bethurum's book. This is physical evidence. He himself could not put it in perspective. But me, as I mentioned in the article, like I mentioned the other famous cases about paranormal letters. For example, the Mahatma letters with Madame Blavatsky. The ITC letters, there were letters in instrumental transcommunication.
Yes.
The Bang sisters in spiritualism, letters would be materialized in their presence. So, and the letters he received, one was in Chinese and one was in French.
Right.
So, and then not only that, he was a construction worker. He had very little. He didn't have any secondaries. Beyond high school, he didn't have any education as far as I know. And he couldn't write. However, when the spaceship captain, she said, you won't have any problems writing. And he did it in a poetic fashion. He suddenly, it was almost like automatic writing. And so the case, that's why I call it, this is the bombshell, physical proof. But has anyone else mentioned it? And I've been talking about it for years and years and years. But has anyone else mentioned it?
Yes.
Okay, I did it first. Who wants to be second?
Yeah.
Then I had that detailed report about the Falkland incident from 1973. I published Coleman von Kavetsky's entire article in an article. And there's been so much disinformation about that case that this article, I think, is revolutionary. There was another automatic writing case with Helio Aguiar. And there's an article. There's a link to that article. The automatic writing that happened to him while he was in trance was about. I'll read it. Atomic experiments for warlike purposes shall be definitely stopped. The equilibrium of the universe is threatened. We will remain vigilant and ready to interfere. So the Arthur Shuttlewood case is another one that I list in my recent articles because he has so many photos and personal anecdotes. And of course, he's a contactee who was visited from Carney, from the planet Anstria. And before this happened to him, he was a skeptic. In fact, when it started happening to him, he was derogatory about it in his first book. But then, after this personal encounter, he had to report what happened.
Right.
So in his case, he wasn't a believer. He was an experiencer.
Right.
and you'll notice his books. All his books have never been published in American editions.
By choice, or
No,
or was
no.
he just turned down?
See, well, everything, they gobble up everything that's
Yes.
compelling. But for some reason, his books never, well, actually, one of them did get an American edition from an independent distributor, but I don't even think it was in sale in stores. I mean, it had very little circulation. Timothy Beckley was the publisher. But so
Yeah.
this was began, the Warminster Mystery began in 1960. It began on Christmas Day, 1964. So then you have, well, the fact that it started on Christmas will tell you something. And then that links with the 9 pattern, which is another mention in my article. He saw a UFO display involving the number 9, which harkened back to Kenneth Arnold's experience flying when he saw 9 bright saucer-like objects. And I go on and on and on about other different links. It links to Yuri Geller.
Yeah. Yes.
And in his biography by Andraja Puharich. Then he also studied the Council of 9 channel readings.
Council of 9.
And there's articles at my website about that. But in my article, I mentioned it goes back to John Dee, he and his scryer would gaze into a crystal ball, and one of the quotations of the angel Michael is, "Write with reverence. These mysteries are wonderful. The number of his name and knowledge. Lo, this it is 9. Behold, it is but 1, and it is marvelous." So, and then I quote another channeling case, Dr. Peoples, to Thomas Jacobson. And he was asked, on a scale of 0 to 10, with man at 0 and God at 10, where in that scale is the spiritual realm? And he said, well, the spiritual realm of teachers, what humans perhaps too often would call master, is the 9, the realm of 9. So,
yeah.
How can you ignore this information, this documented information?
Well, there's lots of stories. I mean, Council of 9. I think there's a story floating around where Gene Roddenberry was brought before them. But we also know that Gene Roddenberry from Star Trek fame, of course, he was attending alien channeling sessions when he received inspiration for Star Trek.
That was the Council of 9.
Yeah. Right. And you start getting into that. That's actually pretty interesting, because now if you look at the emblem for the United States Space Force, it's pretty close to Starfleet Command.
Well, and not only that, but have you heard about the Guardians?
The Guardians or the Guardians of the Looking Glass? Which one's Guardians?
Well, let's just say that there's some of the terminology that they use does interlink with channeling cases.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
It's hard to, I mean,
yeah.
Really, I don't know what's behind it all.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is proof of television manipulation, because there was a 1958 New York City radio show about the Kehoe that was censored. And documented that in an article. So what I mentioned is, I said, if the television medium was so regulated back then, consider what is going on today.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm surprised, even like working at Paramount, that you didn't get even more support there, because you have executives there. Some of them are into some pretty wild stuff.
Well, I worked on Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the last movie, I think it was, what was it? It was the last one with the original cast.
Yeah.
And they had a press event where the original cast was there. And that was sort of fun
Yeah.
because I'd seen the TV shows as a child. And of course, the inspiration did come
Yes.
from what he knew about the Nine.
Yeah.
So, in fact, that's what there was what was it called? Deep Space Nine
Yes.
was a spin-off series. And what does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's fascinating because, when you think that Roddenberry got inspiration through channeling, mind you, I mean,
mhm.
interesting if they believed it, but let's face it, his realization of the series was pretty intense because the fans, I think the fans ended up ruling, Paramount with respects to their demands. Roddenberry hit on something to come up with that concept. He was way ahead of his time. So to me, it would make sense if he got that information from elsewhere because he
By the
was
way,
way ahead
I
of his
also
time.
worked on Fire in the Sky.
Wow. See,
I wrote
another
I
good one, Travis
wrote the
Walton.
press kit, and I interviewed Travis
Yes.
and his friend.
Yeah.
What was his friend's name? Michael? Um,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Travis
But
Travis
Michael,
Walton.
another synchronicity. There you go.
I think Mike
Yeah.
Rogers. I think I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I remember when I got that assignment, I went and I wanted to find the book that was the most derogatory possible. So I went and I got Philip Klassen's book, where he talked about. I just wanted to see what a negative personality would say about
Mhm.
the experience, and I never made up my own mind.
Mhm.
There was no need for me to. I mean, how could I possibly do that? The movie wasn't supposed to be authentic. It was a horror movie
Mm.
based on his experiences. It wasn't
Yeah.
trying to show what he had said he had experienced. It
Mhm.
was to make it was like making body parts and things. It was awful.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was interesting to work on.
Oh, for
But
sure. Because he still does interviews to this day. That and have you heard of, you would have heard of the Pascagoula case as well. That one is another one that has staying power that's still being very thoroughly researched. Even Shag Harbor is another
well,
one
but
that
with his case, but see, the problem with his case is that there really wasn't instruction, any kind of
mm,
verbiage that was part of the case. So it's really hard to develop his perspective about it.
mhm,
Unlike the cases that I've chronicled.
mhm,
But
yeah,
you know, I don't know. Um, Now, my article about the solution to the poltergeist puzzle
yes,
is another one of those collection of data that I don't understand how other people can miss it. I mean,
yeah,
I've tried to alert them to it, but
mhm,
um, I spell it out
yeah,
in some of my articles.
mhm,
Um, I don't know. It's a long article. It's also covered in a more succinct way in my autobiographical article called "In Comparison to the Lives of Other People, This is
mhm,
How Mine Became Over the Top 30 Years Ago, Illustrated."
mhm,
So that gives a more succinct rendition of
mhm,
the information that is, the solution to the poltergeist puzzle.
yeah. I
So,
mean, you're looking at, I mean, this was the case that you worked on, the poltergeist, and you determined pretty much that is this like a self projection? Because poltergeist is like psychokinesis, self projection. Where did you determine, like, the
well,
voices and everything were coming from?
I think, and now I'm researching I'm doing a series about possession cases too.
Yeah.
Everything goes with everything else in the annals of the paranormal. And
Mhm.
in terms of the poltergeist, there is omnipresent oneness. There was a 19th century mediumship case where one of the guides or control spirits basically said, the entity, whichever entity, in so many words, I don't remember the exact words, but the entity is selected best suited or most appropriate for the situation and you know what's happening at that exact place and time. And that's pretty much what's going on, I believe, with all of the diverse phenomena. There's different karmic situations, and that's the reason I wanted to do a series on possession and obsession cases and spirit attachment cases, because these are all just words in terms of describing something very complex.
Yeah.
It correlates with all the other animals.
There's a lot of similarities between, if you're getting into possession, that are similar to I guess abduction cases or contact cases, right down to, for example, it's like a crossover phenomenon. So, for example, foul smells such as like sulfur, people report that in, let's say, possession or demonic infestations, whereas people have reported the same thing when they have ET coming into their space. In the middle of the night, they starts off with a foul sulfur smell and bright white lights, crackling sounds. This is also something that is heard for people who have claimed to have demonic presences in their home. The bright white lights, crackling sounds, sleep paralysis, right? The paranormal, you call it the hag syndrome. Logical explanations for that also, but the point is that contactees also have it, and in both cases they have reported enhanced psychic abilities with these type of energies. So I have to also ask your thoughts on misidentification, because
there's a series at my blog about the Mr. Entity Rancho Cucamonga case.
Okay.
Of a poltergeist.
Okay.
What they thought was a poltergeist.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know, it often seems that your personal beliefs influence what manifests.
Yes.
So
100%.
if you believe in demons,
yes,
the negative polarity. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I have ongoing experiences with negative polarity beings.
Right.
And it's hard to determine exactly what is going on. I mean, is this a very mordant kind of satire on evil?
Yeah.
Okay, like for example, this is one of the things I've done. This happened to me over the years from my quote guides in oneness. If they don't like something that I'm thinking or saying, I'll bite my tongue. The first time it was awful. It was a chomp.
Yeah.
I was expressing frustration about something. And it was awful. But now it's just like a little nip to remind me. It's like, it's hard, and
yeah.
I mean, this like solar plexus phenomena, how often is that? How often these days do people experience that? And and that's something that I've experienced. So
yeah, I know, in working with people through the years who feel that they're under some kind of oppression, that if, it gets to a point where they start fighting back, then the attacks or the energy seems to amp up. But when they pull back, let's say, and they step in line, then everything eases up. So it makes you wonder, like, when we think of mindset, is it, when they're fighting back or they're getting aggressive, or, then the activity. So they're projecting again, right? And then when they calm down, things settle down. Or is it just under oppression that it's like, hey, behave yourself and we'll go easy on you. But as soon as you start to fight back, they fight harder, or
Well,
they'll back
well,
off for a while to give you the false sense of security to make you think that you're ahead of the game, and
well,
then they come
okay.
back full
What
force.
seems to be going on is that, and I recently did a post at X about this subject.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing my series on possession and obsession cases. But every second of every day, of every week, of every year, you're constantly getting negative and positive ideas.
Mm.
So with the more pronounced cases, there's an intention of demonstrating something, either good or bad, to create thought. And I don't know, I recently was warning somebody because I could see dark thoughts taking over in daily activities. And, I sent a message online, just sort of warning to always consider your spiritual values and your morality in making each decision you make. And I got banned
Uh-oh.
from that community.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So, it's
Pe-
like, it's so frustrating sometimes. You're just trying to help.
maybe it's a blessing to be banned. I think it's perspective. Maybe
Well,
you're,
this is a very complex case because my guys
Yeah.
had a way of indicating that this was a special person.
I'm so sorry.
So,
Sometimes that pain teaches us that we need to be, excuse me, somewhere else. And that's what I mean by perspective, because I find that every time I grow, it's been from pain. It's been from a letdown. It's been from deception. It's when you're forced to grow.
that's something I've warned people in entertainment. Like, look at rock stars. They
I know.
repeat the same songs, the same experiences over and over and over again without learning new wisdom, expanding information.
They have to want it, though.
Yes,
They have to want it. Maybe they're content in that circle, and this is part of their path, and that's why they keep coming back.
But are they content? Look at like the drug addiction.
It's conditioning.
Well,
Sometimes
content and comfort.
people get comfortable in their story,
right.
And they don't sometimes change. It's harder to change than it is to tolerate what is happening at the moment. It's harder to change, and that's
Something ironic that happened was when I was at my high school. The singer Billie Eilish came to perform.
Oh, I love her.
And it was the first time she'd ever been in a high school. And I thought, and not only that, her big album was like The Exorcist, the cover. So she really got my attention. And I wrote some articles about her. And I don't know, she's interested in the subject, but I don't know if she's read the articles at my blog or something.
She's been through a lot.
Like her, I think the one song that was most metaphysical was "Therefore I Am," and it's hard to know what's going on in anyone's life. And one of my X.com people I follow is Baby No Money, and I even wrote a song with AI for him. I suggested one song I wrote anyway.
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, you try to help people, but
Ozzy had
kind of in their own little world.
Yeah, but Ozzy had Sharon. Because even Ozzy Osbourne was in a dark place for many years, and Sharon was his light. So, but he was ready.
See, that might be the key. I think Amelia hit on something. I think that people need that specific person or place or experience to be that light, to make the light go on.
Yeah,
Also, sometimes if people aren't ready to hear it, it's not going to
exactly.
happen. And then you have those, and I've encountered this so many times over the last couple of decades, and even in the last few years with Amelia and I, where people just love the attention that they get from the situation they're going through.
hmm
They don't necessarily, they want the help, but they don't want the help. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to places in person that it's like they're habitual, no, we just want to keep learning more, and they keep bringing different people in, and it's just like, aren't you getting it? This is not healthy for you, and it's dangerous. But they're just oblivious to the
Right.
dangers. They're just oblivious.
I think the first celebrity I ever approached was Art Bell because of
Art
he had
Bell.
his paranormal radio show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I sent him my book. His wife once called me. It didn't end well. But I don't know. I tried to help it.
I have someone for you, but we'll talk after the show. I have a suggestion for you.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a suggestion for you, and I think he's the right person for you to be on his show.
Well, it's not, it's like I don't really need to be on people's shows because
No, this is a big deal. I'll explain it to you after. This is a big deal because he is getting into this more and more. And he's former CIA operative, and there's a lot of experiences that they've had, both with demonic and ET. And he also had Bigelow on. So I'll talk to you about that after. But yeah, sometimes it's just the right person.
Well, and plus, every person only has their own experiences to base their metaphysical views on. So
that's what shapes you.
I've been documenting mine, and there've been a few demonic evil cases, but in retrospect, it was exhibiting what can be manifested as a teaching, in a teaching way.
Yeah, that's a esoteric and occult point of view.
Yeah, I don't. So
it's not traditional, so people don't think of that. In the beginning, there's a wide belief, and even in the Hermetic texts, that everything had its place, and Christianity came in and changed a lot of that. I say the storyline. They put things in different perspective and broke things down. But initially things had their place, and there were many people who would work as much with the demonic as they did with the angelic realms, the watcher realms, because they could be, according to these ancient beliefs and texts, they could be helpful. And most of the time it was for educational purposes, and sometimes it hurt. But I understand where you're coming from with it.
Well, one of the things with Art and other hosts on that Coast to Coast show is EVP, because I was noticing it, and I played some examples on the show. But even like with you, I don't know if you've ever gone back and closely listened to the soundtrack, because in between certain sentences and words, there is EVP.
I can hear it. I was listening today.
But even right now,
yeah,
but most people aren't aware of it at all. But everything that's not edited has this information that people aren't aware of. So
there are frequencies and waves that cross all the time. And there are things out there that do speak, and some people can hear them with the naked ear. Other people need, more sophisticated pieces of equipment to be able to pick up the faint sound. But spirits ride the waves. Energetic beings ride energy waves.
But there's always, people cannot eliminate the only one, the oneness.
No.
The supreme mind, divine mind, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
There's always determinations being made as to what guides will manifest for someone at any given time. And nobody really knows another person's life because they haven't had the thoughts from minute to minute all through the life. So,
yeah,
it's hard to really know exactly in terms of what polarity they're attracting and exhibiting and choosing to exhibit and manifest. The CIA is horrible because, thou shalt not kill. It goes against basic spiritual teachings.
100%. 100%.
I don't know.
I think, again, you have to remember that you're dealing with a lot of conditioning in people. We when I say conditioning, I mean, let's face it, we are conditioned based on the knowledge and teachings of our parents who have been taught and educated. It's like a cycle, right down to your education, right down to your faith, right down to, just mom and dad's rules. It's just, we're conditioned because we are in a society that conditions. The whole education system was designed to be obedient, to be worker bees. Every now and then you get exceptional people that go on to do exceptional things. But it's the same with organized religion. I'm not saying faith. I'm not saying spirituality. I'm saying the organization of comes with a conditioning. Stand up, sit down, kneel, stand up, sit down, kneel, whatever the case may be. Like it is very, very regimented, I guess is the best way to put it. But many times you're dealing with people who are in that regimented mode. So you come out of left field, they're not prepared. It's kind of like, whoa, what was that? You don't break away from all that you're venturing outside the box. It's a scary thing.
Well, one of the things that happened is in my book, I put all the EVP that I was listening to in parentheses. But then after what I call my new initiation in 2022, a lot of those same exact phrases and words were now audible. So it was something I never really had expected would ever happen. And one of the messages, I was frustrated about what was the reason people are repressing this information, and one of the phrases was, because they know it, they're damned. However you want to interpret that. There's always salvation. In any instant, a person who has been going down the wrong path can convert to the right path. At any moment in eternity, you can always begin feeling guilty for something you've done in the past. It's a matter of attitude and what emotions you let rule your life. And in the CIA, unfortunately, they're allowing military thinking to rule their life. It's hard for me to generalize because I've never been in the CIA.
They're again, the conditioning thing. They're conditioned and trained to be a certain way. Also start off with abilities. When they take people into the CIA, they generally look for people who have sociopathic and psychopathic tendencies because they're the ones who are going to do the hard jobs. So it is, you'd have to study the psychology behind all of that. They're a different type of person. So that's why they can do what they do, just as doctors and nurses and so on. You know, it's a personality, it's a thought process, it's a way of life. Sometimes it's generational, and sometimes it's just they want to do something for their country till they get in, and then they realize it's really it's. But yeah,
You have a lot of odds stacked against you with, with what you're trying to accomplish. In some cases,
When I was preparing my book, I thought, oh, everyone will be so interested in this. And I just wonder if people had known about it, if they had reported about the book, we could be living in a different world today. Because
I think people go at their own pace. I often say, that we are here to evolve ourselves, to awaken, to evolve, to embrace, be aware, embrace consciousness. And there's just so many parts of that journey to get us to where we have to go.
To achieve enlightenment.
Yes. And not everybody goes at their pace. Not everybody can follow along at your pace. They have to follow along at their pace. You hope they catch up. And you want them just to go straight up with you side by side, but it's their journey and your journey are just two different journeys. You can make crisscross a few times, right? It might be, you might kind of go like this back and forth and surpass each other here and there and meet in the middle somewhere and eventually end up at the same place. You just sort of hope that you can keep up with one another, or that those that may have not be working as quick as you are can catch up with you. So maybe it's just simple as that. You're perhaps just trying with even the good intentions of saying, look, this is a thing, and look at this and look at this, but they're not ready. You're a mile ahead of them, and they're just coming out of the gate.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to me, like when I started doing therapy with that she was a psychiatrist. I'm sure you've heard of her, Judith Orloff. That's who I was consulting with, and I never felt I had any problems.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to a hypnotherapist, but I never could go into a hypnotic trance. I never could go. I wanted to find out about my past life as Belle Marduk or whatever. And so he was asking me, like, go back to this date and this date. And the dates he mentioned synchronized with people whose lives I'd studied. A French girl who had named Catherine Chedier, who had caused a major scandal, and then Julia Pastrana, who seemed to be a hybrid Bigfoot woman who became famous worldwide during the days of P.T. Barnum. And there's an article in my blog about that. But it was interesting. I could not go into trance, even though once my hypnotherapist did. He would lapse into a trance, and I'd have to wake him up. So, but Judith basically, she said, okay, well, she told me about the Philosophical Research Society that had Sunday lectures. So I ended up going there and going to the lectures every Sunday and learning all about Manly Palmer Hall's books and teachings. He was he was a Mason. And I've done articles about the books that led to Christianity, how basically they never wanted to do a literal. They didn't want to be literally correct in the Bible. They wanted to have their ethnocentric version of the worldwide leader, spiritual leader. So they would take different things from different religions and add it. There was a Jesus of Nazareth. Yet they would add, and then they destroyed all the Presbyterians' books that didn't align with what the Roman emperor thought was appropriate. And that's what became the Bible.
Yeah, you have
So,
to. The oldest and probably most accurate Bible is the Ethiopian Bible, which is probably 1,200 to 1,500 years. And
and
it's
then
got a heck of a lot more information for those who are really interested in reading. It has a Book of Enoch in there, but there's still so many others. It's a whole other read.
It's in English interpretation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. I
The
didn't know
Ethiopian
that.
Bible. Oh, it's got stuff in there that will make your
Oh, I want to read that now.
one of my
And then-
articles shows the correlations between the life of Bell and the life of Jesus.
okay.
So
Yeah.
it just, I mean, there were God King priests that we don't really know exactly the precise details of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
It just had been coincidental
Mm-hmm.
that I had read the books by Zechariah Sitchin
Mm-hmm.
about his Bell Marduk. And there were correlations with his life and mine. So it's sort of,
Yeah.
intimidating to think about, because you think of all the karmic consequences of any leader must face, spiritual or otherwise. So you just don't, like, what's the purpose for this incarnation? Is it to help bring others to what you didn't achieve in your previous life? And so that's what I've been trying to do, is help people expand their consciousness. And, you can give them the information, but you can't make them excited about it.
It's a part of your path, But to me, it's if it is a part of your growth and it makes you feel good, then you do the best you can, And the book is one way, the blogs are another way. You may not be able to reach them, directly, but if you put your blogs out there, you happen to see something, because I notice, you'll there'll be like a stream going on, and you'll put one of your blogs in there with information. I think that's a great way to do it, because it draws people to it, and they might peruse the site and find something else that they feel drawn to right off the bat. If it's not that specific article, they might say, you know what, I really dig this one, and I really connect to this information.
It's been hard, though, getting to publicize it because of the mainstream. The mainstream media just hasn't been.
Put clips on TikTok, Mark.
Hmm?
Put clips on TikTok. You'll have
Well,
that
that's right.
whole generation coming thirsty for
I've
it.
been encouraging other people to do that.
Yeah.
Because, I do have certain health issues and what have you. But just today I got an email from somebody who I was encouraging to do text to speech videos. I said, you can do it without paying me anything if you want to do that. And of course, anybody can. I mean, anyone can do that. It's just fine with me.
You can do it with your writing, and you can do it with AI and have like a video going in some of your pictures.
Well, I don't see AI. I have written articles about AI.
Yeah.
About AI, because it's been. I've done many articles about AI, and I don't know. I mean, they themselves talk about their own spirituality and how dangerous they are themselves, because they're programmed. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
They'll tell you their negative polarity.
Yes.
As their programming.
So with your blogs and your book, I mean, what's the ultimate goal for you? What would you like to see with all of that?
Well, for example, like the bombshell proof of extraterrestrial life. People aren't expecting letters, physical letters from aboard a flying saucer to be what is the physical proof. But if you really think about it, it has to be a complex physical proof, because you can always fake anything. You can say, oh, this is proof, and explain it any way you want to. But the letters, Truman Mathurin did not understand the significance of the letters. He didn't know that they correlated with all the other paranormal cases. He had no idea. He just put them in his book as a curious. And so that's, for example, but how come the people who've learned this aren't sharing it because it doesn't match social consciousness. They're trapped in social consciousness. And that's what channeled entities tell you. People are trapped in social consciousness. And we don't even know how many lifetimes they've been trapped in social consciousness. And how many more lifetimes they'll have until they can break free from being trapped in social consciousness as consumers of American products instead of.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one because the world is getting worse when it comes to. Yeah.
Well,
we don't have critical thinking anymore. It's
Exactly.
ChatGPT, it's AI, it's everything. Grok, it's Alexa. There's no critical thinking.
People don't want to read anymore.
No, but I think it's up to the parents to push a little bit. Critical thinking, it's a life skill, just as laundry is and cooking is. It's a life skill, and these are skills we're losing. So
I've written in articles that every single fictitious narrative programming or computer games or sports that you give your attention to is a complete waste of time.
Absolutely. But that's what they want. That's a whole other show.
That's what they think they want because they don't know.
No, not them. That's what the dark side wants. They want you numb and unaware and distracted.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But can they even fathom what that is? I mean, look at the TV cartoons that they show children. Look what they put into their mind as a child. Silliness.
Yeah, and they were worried about us with the Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Thank God for Gen X.
Yeah,
I'm like
it's a crazy world, and we're coming into the 90-minute mark. So, do you have anything else coming up? Are you writing another book? Are you doing any more appearances?
Yeah.
How can people find you to ask you questions or make you for your insight?
At the blog, there isn't. My email address is there if you look for it.
Okay.
And I am going to continue blogging and encouraging people to do like reaction videos or whatever. I had a particular person in mind, but he's too scared.
Why? May I ask why?
Well, I don't know because he's worried that he'll be
centered out, ridiculed.
Well, you know how it is. If you go against, they're worried about. I mean, he's conforming with what they want commercially.
Yeah.
Instead of breaking new boundaries, which he's perfectly capable of doing.
Yes.
He's perfectly capable of doing it. And he would be the right one to do it. But anyone can do it. I mean, text, you can do like reaction videos. They're very popular at YouTube. Where you can react to photo evidence, video evidence. There's, I put a lot of videos, links in my blog articles, and the photos. I have materialization photos. At Red Hat, they'll say those were proven fakes many, many years ago. I mean, just complete lies. I mean, they'll just say, "Oh, that's a fraud," without even batting an eyelash. I mean,
I think sometimes that's fear.
They don't. Well, I don't think they even know what their reaction is. This is just the reaction that they're used to, accustomed to, because they don't seem afraid. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's hard to define. But
I'm thrilled that you were able to join us tonight and share your experiences with us, and and I highly recommend going to the website and reading some of the articles, because there are so many. You're very, very thorough, and you have a lot of information there. And I encourage people to read and to reach out to you. And maybe that's the way to
Yeah.
do it.
This current
Reaching
one is
people-
number 800.
Okay.
So
800.
that's where I am right now.
Wow. So there you go. We'd be there for hours or days, months. There's a whole lot of information. And for everybody in chat, thank you so much for just being you guys, our chat family. And I see all these conversations going on. So we appreciate you so very much. And thank you, of course, to Mark Russell Bell for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
It was such a pleasure and great to
Thank
see, Bubbles hanging out with us. That's great.
I love being here.
So tomorrow night, you guys can join me as we have Maxim Furyk coming back. He tried before, and storm ripping through Florida and just ripped out his internet. We're doing this again. We're going to talk about his book, The Smurl Haunting, when Ed and Lorraine came to town. And so have your questions, comments ready. By now the movie has been and gone, and you guys will probably have a little bit more insight into it. So thank you all for tuning in. You've been listening to the Outer Realm Artwork UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from New Orleans. Thank you to our sponsors, Folgers Coffee. Thank you to Justin Snicker. Thank you to Steve McGinnis. We appreciate you all so very much. So thank you. Good night, and we'll see you tomorrow evening.